Hello students, this is chapter motion and time, and in this video I am going to explain about the measurement of time. Time is a duration in which anything occurs. We measure time with the help of clocks and watches. In ancient time, the people did not have clocks or watches for measuring time. So, in ancient time or in olden days, time measuring devices used were sundial, sand clock, and water clock. So, we will see one by one how it works. First is a sundial. Sundial is one of the earliest devices used for measuring time. A sundial measures time by the position of the shadow cast by the sun. The sundial has a triangular blade which is fixed vertically on a dial marked with hours of the day. The sun casts a shadow of this vertical blade on the dial. As the position of the sun changes in the sky, the position of the shadow of the blade on the dial also changes. Second device, it was sand clock. The sand clock is also known as hourglass. The sand clock uses the flow of sand from one glass bulb to another bulb to measure the time. So the length of time taken by the sand to pass from one bulb of the sand clock to the other gives a constant time interval. Third device, it was water clock. So in this water clock, the rate at which water goes from one vessel to another to measure the time interval. So the ancient time measuring devices that could not be used for the measurement of small time interval. So for that, the modern basis of measurement of time, it was based on the periodic motion. So the watches used today make use of periodic motion, and the common example of that periodic motion, that is of simple pendulum. So in modern watches, that gives an accurate time, because the pendulum clocks that we are using in the ancient time were big and bulky, so they could not be carried everywhere easily. And pendulum clocks were usually kept fixed at a place and used for reading time. So in order to make small and to give the accurate time, nowadays electronic clocks and watches are there. So these electronic clocks and watches measure time very accurately. Now we will study about the simple pendulum, how it works. A simple pendulum consists of a small metal ball. That metal ball is known as bob, and this bob is suspended by a long thread from a support so that bob can be able to swing freely. A simple pendulum, in this, the length of the pendulum, the length of the thread from the point of suspension, that is known as the length of the pendulum, and the time period of the pendulum depends on its length. As the length of a pendulum increases, the time period also increases. So B is the mean position, and both the extreme positions A and C are there. One complete to and fro movement of the pendulum bob is called oscillation. As in the picture it is given here. When the bob moves from one extreme position A to the other extreme position B and come back to A, this is known as one oscillation. And the time taken by the pendulum To complete one oscillation is called the time period of the pendulum. And time period is being indicated by the capital T. As the pendulum oscillates to and fro, the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side is called the amplitude of the pendulum. Thanks and have a nice day.